is time to take flight with Audio Airstrike.
I wanted to kind of let you have the floor and give your personal thoughts on some tips, some things you've learned about how, in ways that people can have a healthy online dating journey in this quarantine that we're in. What advice can you give to the people?
Thank you very much. I think that this is a great opportunity and a pleasure being on. Thanks for having me on. This is a good opportunity to remind people to live publicly, but date privately. And on social media, prime case, we were talking about it just a moment ago, that if everybody knows your business of your dating and your partnership, then that's definitely not living publicly, dating privately. Like the person that I go out with a few times now, we don't need to speak about that because the story hasn't been written yet. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the next time that we see each other, but we're having a different conversation about fails, dating fails. So therefore, I'm not going to date publicly right now. The other three things that I would recommend for people who are out there dating in general, with or without a quarantine, is first, set your intentions, know what you're looking for, know what you're not looking for. And I recommend to my friends and family and people who reach out to me to build your ideal relationship, what that looks like to you, what your non-negotiables are, before you look for an ideal person. Because the relationship is the inflexible part. The person is the flexible part. And when we plug in the right person to the right relationship, that's where we find success. And in that relationship, point number 2 is to set healthy boundaries. Okay, you called me the wrong name in bed. I'm going to set a boundary of letting you know that you did that. This is me communicating to you that your behavior upset me. Here's our boundary. Can you actually fit within that boundary of not seeing anybody else but me if we're sleeping together? If that's a no, okay, thank you very much for being honest with me. I'm going to move on now. And then finally, the third thing I want people to know is manage your own expectations. If you go into a new partnership in the first month, I was just chatting with a girl yesterday. She's like, oh my God, I've met my person. Okay, how long have you been dating? A month. And he's met all of my friends and all my friends love him. Awesome. That's great. Here's another question. Have you had your first conflict yet? When you get into your first conflict with your partner, that's when all of their stuff is going to come out. That's where all of your stuff is going to come out. And if you don't know how to manage your own expectations about what I need to hear in that first conflict, you're going to be at a loss there because you're going to come up with 2 different communication styles. One is a shutdown person. The other one is a screamer. One is a person who likes to run from conflict. The other person likes to pursue conflict and won't let you leave the room without actually handling the business at hand. And so that's why I had that question for her of have you guys had your first bit of conflict yet? And that's when you really know. I like to call it love at first fight, not love at first sight. Because if you can get through that first fight with somebody, managing your own expectations and sharing your boundaries with your partner, and you both compromise and accept each other, then you're going to have a higher probability of being successful in your relationship in the future, long term.
That's 40 years of experience, ladies and gentlemen. And an 18-year-old daughter later. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? That's wisdom. We're gonna celebrate that. That's wisdom. That's wisdom right there. Y'all take that. Y'all that are my age and younger, y'all better take every last thing he said as gospel. He just gave you, let me tell you something. He gave you 40 years of game right there. He prevented a lot of people from making a lot of stupid mistakes just now. Y'all should be thankful. Man, y'all should be thankful. Yeah, man, that's no problem, man.
What I want to close out with is that none of those 3 things that I talked about are about the other person, because we have to understand that everything we have, past patterns included, all starts with us. And if we don't repair the wounds that hurt us in childhood and early adulthood and later adulthood, if we don't repair those, we're going to bleed on people who didn't cut us.
I like that. That is a very powerful statement. That is a very powerful statement. Keep it going. No, keep it going. Floor is yours. Keep it going. I ain't got that time.
I know we got a late start. I got jujitsu at 5:00, but I'll leave you guys with this, that when you're trying to communicate with your partner and you know it's going to be a sensitive issue, you can dive deep into nonviolent communication. And I'll sum it up with this one phrase, and then I'll give you an example. Lead with the truth. Lead with grace, then the truth. And we'll apply it to our text message conversation earlier. I dated somebody who it took 2 days to get back to me once. And I said, this is nonviolent communication in a nutshell. I noticed that it takes you a little while, a day or two, to get back to me via text. That makes me feel like you're not interested in me. Is there any way that we could dedicate some time to talking about whether or not that's true? And if there's something that we can come to as an agreement that makes me feel understood, is that something you're open to?